Hello, good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to another Wednesday. Cold, fairly grey. Thankfully not raining Wednesday though here in Hampshire in the south of England. As always, do pop a hello in the comments if you are watching. And we'll see where we go from there. Where will today take us? Good morning, Maria. Good morning, Karen. Welcome to Wednesday. Do you know, spring is making itself known. The garden is starting to come alive. We have little fairy catkins on the willow tree. We have leaves and buds and all sorts of stuff going on out there. It's happening. Good. Thank you, Maria. Good morning, Claire. Good morning, Kerry. Good morning, Karen. Good morning, Melanie. Dry in wide open but grey. Yeah, that's pretty much what it is here. Good morning, Amanda. Good morning, Emma. Good morning, Jalala. We have mizzle here in Normandy. Weather is ninja raining. Excuse me, my throat's going a bit today. It's because I recorded a podcast yesterday, doing this morning, another podcast recording this evening. Let's hope it lasts. Good morning, Sue. Good morning. Welcome to another Wednesday. Another magical Wednesday. Wednesday's supposed to be the most productive day of the week, apparently. Just so you know. I'll be getting your report cards in later. Just checking to see how productive you've been. So here we are. So this week's topic. What magical practices do you prefer? What's your go-to magical practice and why? That's what we're talking about today. Good morning, Trudy. What have we got coming up? Let's do that first. Stuff. Phone's downstairs. Forgot that. So I can't look at the calendar. Let's see. We have Wild Witchcraft Conference. We have the Wandering Witches. We have next weekend, next Saturday, we have MoonCon 24. Different format this year. It's a 3-hour long session. We have Mara Starling, Morgan Daimler, Jenna Chalendru, all about the Celtic pantheons. It's going to be fabulous. Available on the Moonbooks Facebook page and the Moonbooks YouTube channel. Streaming live, free, open to everyone. Starts at 6 p.m. Saturday, the 9th of March. I think I'm right in saying. Who knows? Days disappear. Check out the Kitchen Witch website, what's on page, and my own website events page for news about all the stuff that's happening. Several courses I'm running at the College of Psychic Studies online. Have a look at those as well. There you go. There's the advert done and dusted. Good morning, Trudy. Good evening, Sephora in New Zealand. Good morning, Kitty Cat. Good morning, Kerry from a rainy Clonelly. Ebony just went out for a wee and is soaking wet now. Eric won't go out when it's raining. You have to throw him out the door. Emma's report card will say failed miserably. No, you're up and about, Emma. That's a big tick. Good morning, Jane. Good morning. Won't be very productive as not feeling well. Oh, big hugs and positive energy to you, Karen. Good evening, Marie. Oh, there's the link to stuff. Thank you. Sephora, nice new bit of Mr. Pratchett. It's an old picture that I've had for a very long time. I just moved it from one side of the room to the other. Yeah. Great Atuin is watching over me. Swimming through the universe. Good morning, Sue. Sue has sun in Sunderland. Lovely. Good morning, Steve and Jackie from Vintage Witchcrafts. Lots of links there. Thank you. Bonjour, Natalie from France. Bonjour. Good morning, Karen. Didn't know I was multilingual, did you? Good morning, David. Need coffee. Just did a Core Busters Pilates set. I'm feeling old. Oh, I have no words, really. I got out of bed and got dressed. That's good enough for me? Good enough for me. Good morning, Andrea. Yeah, no, I won't really be marking you. I'm not going to check in to see how productive you've been. I promise I'm not. I got a lot on today. So, yes, today's subject. What's your go-to magical practice? If you need to work a spell, if you need to work some magic, if you need to connect, what's your go-to? So pop your thoughts, insights, questions in the comments. We'll see where it takes us. Good morning, Angela from Adrech, cold, grey and wet Brittany. Still recovering from my tumble 2 weeks ago. Oh no, yes, do be careful, Angela. Do be careful. So there we go. Yeah, Paul, I should mention the podcast as well because I'm very proud to be a part of it. We had Irisanya Moon last week. Not a new episode this week. That'll be next week. But I think there's 4 episodes up there now. If you have a look at the Moonbooks Publishing YouTube channel, you can also look at little bite-size snippets from the videos. If you don't want to listen to an hour-long thing, you can have a look at the little shorts videos. Matty has edited them all and they're fabulous. So take a look. Right, Maria, I said earlier, words because they're instant. Words are good. Words have power. Words have a lot of power. You've only got to think about when you say something to someone and their reaction. You can either bring joy and happiness, support and confidence, or you can trash it and rip someone to shreds with words. Very powerful, Maria, very powerful. And that's, I guess, why we use them in spell work as well, because it brings an extra added power to it. Yeah, definitely words. Let's get some of these up. Karen, my go-to is a tarot reading. I use that to inform my plan of action. Helps me see where to focus my manifestations, where to concentrate my efforts, and helps me to see the bigger picture. I work with tarot. It's very insightful. I also work with the tarot cards within my spell working. I quite often use a tarot card to represent the intent of my spell. In fact, I have a tarot deck purely for using in spell work. I think because the cards bring that power of intent with them, they work really well in spell working as well. Sephora usually involves a candle, some cinnamon and meditation. Oh, I'm all with the candles. That's probably my go-to. If I need to work a spell, it'll be candle magic that I go to. Definitely. And cinnamon. Cinnamon's always good. Good morning, Susan in West Sussex, trying decaf tea. Not impressed so far. Yeah, no, I can understand that. Kerry, mine is candle magic or card reading. Yep, definitely. Jane, my best magical practice these days is I like to veg out with my self-hypnosis CD. It's like pushing the reset button. I think that's an important part of self-care, isn't it? Is to take some time out for yourself. Whether it is meditation, guided or otherwise, whether it is sitting with your drum, whether it is sitting listening to a CD. Yeah, that's important as well. Sephora, enjoyed Wolf Talk until I fell asleep. I quite often fall asleep in meditations. It happens. Good morning, Kelly. Good morning, little Miss Nemo. Maria, I do this thing with my finger. What goes around comes around. Anyone who's rude, and then click my fingers to ground. I can actually picture you doing that, Maria. Do you know, sometimes the simplest things are the most effective, though, aren't they? I mean, it is fabulous to do the whole bells and whistles ritual spell working, the whole malarkey. It's fabulous to do that sometimes. But a lot of the time, my magic is more simple, and it is a quick go-to thing. And I think keeping it simple a lot of the time brings a lot of power with it. Jane, I like to pull out a random oracle card each day and see where it takes me. I think oracle cards lend themselves more to the one card daily pull than tarot cards do generally. I think if you're learning the tarot, it's really good to pull a card each day and see how it affects your day and what correspondences it has. But I think generally, if you're looking for just a card to give you a prompt for the day. Oracle cards, I think, work better than tarot for that. But I also use oracle cards as I do tarot cards in spell working, because all of the oracle cards have an intent. Each card has a specific purpose, a specific meaning, and you can use that as a focus in your spell working. You can also use it as a focus for meditation. Tarot or oracle cards, pick one of the cards and literally take yourself into the scenery of the card. That's quite fascinating to do. Angela, candle magic or tarot oracle card readings for me. I have a set of herbal oracle cards, and it's uncanny how the properties of the herbs that come up are so insightful to the situation or need. I mean, there are millions of different tarot and oracle card sets, mine included. Quick plug. You have to connect with them, don't you? Some of them you do, some of them you don't. And I've had lots of different sets over the years. Some of them stay with me, some of them I still use. Other ones I never connect with for whatever reason. They might be beautiful cards, they might be fabulous cards, but if I don't connect with them, then they get passed on. I don't know what it is about that connection. Some sing to you, some don't. It's a personal thing, isn't it? Good morning, James. Kelly, I tend to use my crystal pendulum or mojo bags spell jars. I love a good spell jar. Do love a good witch's bottle spell jar, honey jar. Such a huge range, and it's a spell in a jar basically, isn't it? And they're fantastic. And mojo medicine spell pouches, exactly the same. So straightforward to make, but they carry so much energy as well. We do use my pendulum occasionally. It's not one of my major go-to things, but very useful, very insightful, very useful if you are trying to decide what exactly your intent should be, or what ingredients to use. Pendulum is brilliant if you are unsure about the structure and the ingredients for your spell. Use your pendulum for yes, no answers on all of it. Should I do this? Should I do that? Should I use this? Should I use that? Pendulum is brilliant for that. Sephora, unfortunately, the podcast still got to go back and work out what I've missed. It's all there. It's all there for replay. Claire, I'm doing a lot of sigils at the moment. So easy to work with. I mean, I was going to say all you need is a piece of paper and a pen, but you don't even need that. You can draw sigils in the air with your finger. You can draw sigils with salt, with cornmeal, with flour, with ashes, with soil. Sigils out in the garden with soil are brilliant to work with. Yeah, very versatile, and various different ways of working with sigils as well to create them. Yeah, it's a fascinating area of magic to work with. I think I did a YouTube on it. I think there's one on the back in the logs of YouTube world. Yeah, fascinating area to work with, and you can incorporate so much with it as well. Make them very personal, and no one else knows what they are either, which is an added bonus. David, meditation has been my first go-to now. That's because your meditations are mad. Been finding I've even been performing whole spells in meditation before, as well as have conversation characters. David's meditations are, you could write books with your meditations. Stories. Meditation is important, but I think in thinking about spells and working them with nothing. If you're out somewhere and you have nothing with you, if you're out in nature, you can use nature's bounty, basically. You can work with leaves and stones and shells and sticks. I tend to work with that anyway. Everything that nature offers all has magical properties, all has magical purpose, can all be used in magical spell working. I love to make mandalas from natural items. They are an amazing spell working tool to work with, and all of the natural items lend themselves to that, flowers and leaves and twigs. But I think I think when you start out, when I started out, I had a huge long list. I mean, I'm going back to, dinosaur time. I had a whole list of stuff that I believed I needed. And my initial training was Wicca, so there was a lot of structure to it. So there were a lot of ceremonial tools. So I had a whole list. I need an athame, I need a chalice, I need a bell. Never used a bell ever in any of my rituals. Barely use an athame or a chalice, actually. But I had this whole list, and I had to have candles in every color, and I had to have this, and I had to have that. The only thing I've really ever used regularly is my cauldron, because I like setting fire to stuff. But I had all this stuff, and it was interesting to work with, and I'm very glad that I've done it, and it was an experience. And there are some tools that I come back to on occasion to use, but I think you kind of, once you've become more experienced, it's then interesting to work spells with nothing, to visualize a spell happening with absolutely no tools, no ingredients, nothing, to actually just see that spell happening. And you can do that with just meditation, visualization, however you want to do it. But that's quite an interesting thing to do, and it can be quite powerful. And that, well, our minds are powerful. So yeah, that's an interesting thing to do. Emma, I like using candles, but saying that I also enjoy using my witch's runes. I've been very slack in learning the tarot these last few months. Hey, it happens to us all, Emma. Happens to us all. Witch's runes are fascinating to work with as well. I do read those. I'm a bit sketchy on the Norse runes. They're squiggles, let's be honest. I'm only saying that because Ness is such a rune guru. I mean, way in her shadow. But witches' runes I do enjoy reading, I must admit. But yeah, candles are good. Candles are good for just that one birthday cake candle. That's it. That's all you need to do a spell. Right up to a fully dressed candle with essential oil blend, with herbs, with crystals, with the whole shebang. And everything in between, obviously. Yeah. I'm bringing in color magic as well. I love working with color magic. So that for me brings in to candles as well. It's layers, adding layers to it. Jane, every night without fail, last thing, I balance my chakras and then go through all the things I'm thankful for. I do think gratitude helps to keep things in perspective. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I think we are in a culture of manifesting. Manifest this, manifest that. It's the full moon. Let's all ask for stuff. We do forget quite a lot to be grateful for things. To just do a simple spell for gratitude, to do a simple ritual for gratitude. It's manners, for starters, to give back when you've asked for stuff. But yeah, that's a lovely idea. David, love my tarot cards. Both have two different personalities. They do, don't they? They do. One of the first decks I learned tarot with was the Thoth deck. Good old Mr. Crowley, singing in my head now. And it's brutal. It is brutally honest. If I want to do a reading that doesn't hold any punches, then I use the Thoth deck. I did use Stephanie Law's Shadowscapes tarot deck for a long time, and I do still occasionally use that. It's beautiful. The artwork is amazing, but it's much gentler readings. I'm now on my Magpie deck, which I know I've shown you guys before. It's just an eclectic deck of all different cards. I think there's 138 cards in the deck, something like that. That is brilliant because it flips, because the cards are all from different decks. It brings all sorts of different energies. And I find that if I need a general, yeah, there you go, kind of reading, those are the cards that come out. If I need a smack around the back of the head with a shovel, then those are the kind of cards that come out. Yeah, I do love my Magpie deck. But yes, they do have personalities, don't they? Definitely. Angela, though I do tend to go much more for the oracle than the tarot, I struggle with the traditional tarot. it's a big old thing to take on. There are, well, it's a big deck normally. My magpie deck has twice as many almost. I think it's about working with what resonates with you. If oracle decks are easy for you, then go with it. You have to go with what works for you. The tarot, it might just be that you haven't found the right tarot deck that resonates with you yet, because they are all so different. There's no right or wrong. There's no right or wrong. And I think there's a bit of a misconception that every witch needs to work with everything. I don't work with runes. I don't work with the Ogham. So Ness is a brilliant rune reader. Heather reads the Ogham. They are just squiggles to me. I quite often use the symbols in magic carved onto candles or things, but actually reading them doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I don't generally work with numerology or big, sacred geometry, because that's maths. Because I think everyone is different, and there are different areas of the craft that will resonate with you, and some that will, some that won't. We can't do everything. So it is about finding the things that work for you and going with them. James, I start every day with the casting of Ermine Rune, and even though these are two different systems, I see a close relationship. Oh, absolutely, between the two when I do my daily draws. Yeah, I can see that. I can absolutely see that. Definitely. Jane, when I stop to think, it's amazing just how many things I do automatically each day that are magical. I think we witches and pagans just see life as generally magical, where muggles might not see the magic. I am quite often asked how I manage to do my witchcraft. I have time to be a witch and do all the other stuff. For me, they're not separate. For me, whatever I do as a witch, whether it is cooking the dinner, doing the housework, running the payroll for the real life job. I'm a witch, whatever I do. It's a case of working it into your everyday life. To me, they aren't two separate things. It's a joint effort. Oh, Sephora, yes. David would be an awesome sci-fi writer. Yes, if you put all of your meditations into a short stories book, it would be a definite sci-fi fantasy. Little Miss Nemo. Having had bereavement, illness, poverty, and various other yuckies thrown at me over my lifetime, you and me both, my lovely, I find I don't need to ask what I should do. I've learned from observing my life. I think this is where intuition kicks in as well, doesn't it? And I think you learn from all of these things as well. There is no shortcut to experience. You can pick up a book and read the book and declare yourself a witch. That's fine. But you aren't going to learn what it properly means until you've had the experience of it, until you've worked with it, till you've lived with it. There's no shortcut to that. But yeah, life in general does teach us a lot of things, doesn't it? Life lessons. Sometimes you get them thrown at you more than once because you haven't listened or learned the first time. I speak from experience. Good morning, Lani. Little Miss Nemo may come across as cosmically big-headed, but I very rarely feel the need to ask the universe questions about what I should do. Everyone works in a different way. I don't tend to ask the universe for stuff. I do seek guidance from my cards. I do seek guidance from my animal spirit guide and from the deities that I work with. But generally, it's just for them to nudge me in the right direction. But it's got to work for you. It has to work for you. And everyone, we're all individuals. We're all unique personalities. And what works for one might not work for the other. No, not big-headed at all. It's just everyone works in different ways. Maria, I struggle with tarot, period. So it's oracle for my go-to, even though what shows up has happened already. It's personal choice. Has to work for you. Absolutely has to work for you. Miss Nemo, just use my mummy sense to work out what needs addressing. Yes, I think those that have experienced that know that you have that. But everyone's got intuition. Everyone has that intuition, skill, talent, whatever it might be. That feeling in your stomach when something feels hinky. Listen to your intuition, or that positive feeling you get when you know it's the right thing to do. Learn to trust your intuition, because it will never let you down. Never let you down at all. I do seek guidance from the otherworldly stuff, but my magical workings tend to be more spell working for particular things rather than asking for guidance. They are generally to get something done. And it's usually candle magic. That is my go-to. Zephora, the moon is becoming a major prompt at the moment. Moon magic. Written 2 books about it. It is such a strong influence, such a huge power, and it can be worked in the most simplest of forms, just by going outside and talking to the moon, asking her for advice or asking her for what you need. Not necessarily what you want, what you need. And then just work. You could work with it in the waxing, the full and the waning, but you could break it down into the 9 different ones as well: the dark moon, the waxing crescent, the first quarter, the gibbous, all of the different moon phases. They all add power to your magical workings. They all add that different layer of energy to it, and each month those moon phases are slightly different as well, because each month brings that energy, different energy. It's a big thing to work with. I think it's quite important. But, the sun as well. Let's not forget the sun. Sun phases too. Jane, doing a spell with no ingredients is like communicating directly with the universe to manifest an outcome. Doing a spell with no ingredients is very direct. It is. It's an interesting thing to work with, and I have done it on occasion. I do prefer to add ingredients to it, because I feel like I'm making more of an effort, if that makes sense. And I feel like I'm adding layers of power to it. I've put some real, I've gathered all these things. I've thought about it. I've charged all the ingredients individually. But they both work. I think there's perhaps just different situations, different ways of working with them. It's all good. It's just for different situations. Little Miss Nemo. However, I do like gazing at my tarot cards just for the eye candy. They are one of those things, aren't they? Like crystals. When you get one, you end up with lots more. But when I do want to ask, surprisingly, I have turned to my handmade runes, and I don't use runes. Just goes to show. Oh, I see. Just goes to show. Magic moves in mysterious ways. James, later in the day, I always try to do a simple ritual for peace and meditations connecting with the natural energies around me. You've heard me bang on about this before, but connecting to the energy of the land, the energy of your home, the energy of the day, for me, is really important. That is a simple magical practice, just to breathe in the energy of the day. Breathe in that. Open a window, go out into your garden, whatever it might be, but just connecting with the energies of that day, very important. Kelly, I've collected a lot of really lovely, nice witchy items, but the main things I tend to be cheaper stuff, as I keep wanting to save my nice stuff for a special occasion. Hello, it's not coffee, is it?
Good morning from the hand.
It's not coffee, is it?
No, darling.
No,
But it smells.
Coffee. Yeah. What have we got today?
I don't know. What was on top of the pile?
Don't know. Turmeric and something. Yeah.
No, look at that sad face. Oh.
Thank you. Healthy cup of tea. Healthy herbal tea. I know what you mean, Kelly, and I used to be like that. I used to be like that with lots of things. I had all my nice witchy stuff in the cupboard for special occasions. I had my nice crockery and glassware in the cupboards for dinner parties, and it never got used. And then at some point I thought, this is silly. Let's just use this. hanging stuff in the wardrobe, right? I'll wear that dress for a special occasion. Work from home. I don't go out that much. I stopped doing dinner parties a long time ago. So stuff wasn't getting used. So I now use things every day. As you know, I had my tea in a 1940s China teacup yesterday, just to make the herbal tea taste better. The girls came over last week, and I used my 1930s china, and I put it in the dishwasher. I know, horror. But I'm using the stuff rather than it just sitting on the side. I'm using the stuff now. Crack it open, Kelly. Get it out and use it. Little Miss Nemo. Jane's right. It is gratitude, and that's something the Yuckies taught me to recognise. I do think it is a big area where we do fall down quite a lot, being grateful for anything, really, anything and everything. Trudy, to me, when I have that precious alone time, my ritual, loosely, is making my simple incense first, then the intent, and burn it in my mini cauldron. But mostly I'm outside in garden, just sitting with my tarot, or in my woods, leaving natural offerings. Ritual's a funny word. I mean, that sounds perfect to me, Trudy. Ritual's a funny word, isn't it? I think it's one of those words that we think, oh, ritual, that's got to be very structured, and all the bells and whistles, and I need to get my special cloak on, and I need to lay all my tools down. Ritual is just a practice of actions. Brushing your teeth every morning is a ritual. Laying out your breakfast stuff every morning is a ritual. It's just repetition of stuff. So yeah, I think we get a bit hung up on that word ritual, about that we think it has to be so grand. It doesn't. Some of the simplest and spontaneous rituals that I've done have been the best ones. It sounds perfect to me, Trudy. Kelly, it's like not taking the plastic cover of the settee in the front parlour. Who does that? Because that's where the vicar gets his tea. We had a new sofa end of last year. The other one was ancient, and Pete fell through the seat. So it broke, so we had to get a new one. And when we first got it, I'm like, oh, let's put a cover on here, don't sit on there. And then I thought, what are you doing? It's your sofa, just sit in it and relax. Eric does have a blanket to sit on. He likes a blanket. But yeah, it is being a bit precious about stuff, isn't it? It's that's when the vicar gets his tea. Perfect. Hi, Kate. Using my drum to connect to other beings. Oh, using your drum the drum beat for me is such a magical sound. And whether you are just beating a biscuit tin with a wooden spoon, or whether you are beating your handmade drum or your bowen or whatever it might be, amazing sound drumming. Yeah, very magical. Maria, candles are my favorite, so that would be my go-to also. Yep, top of the pile for me. Good job I wrote a book about candle magic, wasn't it? Karen, love the Owen, but I really resonate with trees. I made my own out of each tree and would burn the symbols on each one. Perfect. The Owen it is such a strong connection to the trees, isn't it? Absolutely. Jane, I've tried loads of tarot decks, always go back to the Rider-Waite. I love Pamela Coleman Smith's illustrations, and there's so much detail in every card. It's possible to see something different every time. It is the go-to, isn't it? It is the deck that everyone tends to learn with. I don't get on with it. I think I just like to be contrary, really. Yes, it's got amazing illustrations. It's got a lot of colour. It's got a lot of detail. And I think this is part of learning the tarot, isn't it? It's about seeing beyond that name on the card. So the Fool, okay, that's the Fool. Yes, but what's he wearing? What are the colours in the background? What's the dog doing? What's the knapsack there for? What imagery is in the rest of it? But I think that goes for all tarot cards, really. I like tarot cards that have a lot of imagery because I think it helps you with the reading. But I don't own a Rider-Waite tarot deck because I don't get on with it. But that's where the whole personal thing comes into it, isn't it? That's each person is different. But it is the biggest favourite one, isn't it? And I understand why. Emma, I love crystals. Pretty sure they hate me. What have you done to upset the crystals? Never been able to read the energy of them properly, no matter how much time I spend with them. Maybe just me. I think this is about every witch has their own pathways. I don't work with crystals a huge amount, but they're there. I tend to just work with tumblestones. I don't work with big lumps of the stuff. But not every witch will. Not every magical practitioner will. I think it is, we all connect with different areas. It might just be that's not the pathway for you. I do find with some crystals, there are some crystals that I get on with. There are some crystals I cannot work with. Hematite I cannot work with. It is so heavy. Whenever I pick up a piece, I feel like the weight of the entire world is on my shoulders. So I don't get on with hematite. Moonstone I struggle a little bit with as well. I think because crystals have their own individual personalities, individual energies, they are like people. There's some you'll get on with, some you won't. Maybe it is just about finding the right crystal for you. Maybe it's just that crystals aren't your thing and you're better in another area. We are all different. You don't have to do everything or be good at everything. Little Miss Nemo, it has to be said, although it's not obvious magical practice, these chats are invaluable for connecting with other witches. At the moment, it's the only magical congregation I have. Oh, I'm absolutely with you. During lockdown, when they started, they were a lifeline for me, an absolute lifeline to connect with like-minded people. And that's why I've continued, because all of us have built such an amazing magical community here with these chats, and it stretches out into the Kitchen Witch Coven group. We have built a lovely community, and perhaps not an obvious magical practice, but I think I learned stuff from these chats. I go away from it with new tarot decks to buy, new books to buy, new practices, new ideas, new ways of thinking. And hopefully everyone does the same. It's sharing information, isn't it? And I think that's important with witchcraft, is to share the ideas, the way we work individually, because something you might not have thought of, someone else has been doing for years. So yeah, it's a sharing thing. Absolutely. You just want me to say silly words. Crystals. There are crystals that look so pretty, but are a bit pointless. Yeah, I know what you mean. But then I find a flintstone with some feature and I go, squee. Yes. Yeah. You find a pebble on the beach and it's the most magical, amazing pebble. And you look at the crystal in the shop that's £100 and you think, no, I'll stick with my pebble, thanks. They all have their own unique and individual energies. Absolutely. James, I collect tarot decks. I think you do. Once you've got one, you can't just stop there. Definitely do have their own personalities. Yep. Definitely feel connected to more than others. I use the Thoth right away. Druidcraft Tarot, beautiful imagery for readings, but I also like the Druid Animal Oracle. Again, beautiful imagery. I think the imagery is the key thing, isn't it? Look, I must change the battery in the smoke detector. You've just summed up in one word what it took me 3 postings. Intuition. But it is. Intuition is so important. It is one of the things that we push really hard at the Kitchen Witch School, because intuition will never let you down. But learning to trust it is a bit of a journey. And it does take a bit of experience to really learn to trust it. Lani, my nan used to say, trust your gut, hen, and it will never let you down. She was Scottish. I can't do a Scottish accent, so I won't read that in the accent. But she's right. Absolutely right. Jane, burning incense and having a lingering smell of charcoal makes the whole house feel witchy. Made a big pile of loose incense yesterday as part of my Kitchen Witch homework, and it's really fired me up. We're back to senses that we were talking about last week, aren't we? There is something very magical about incense. And I'm not very good with the smoke, I must admit. I tend to put it on an oil burner so that I don't get the smoke. But that scent, there is definitely something witchy about incense. Yeah, absolutely. David, thinking about systems, there is one I just can't get into, and that ceremonial magic. Don't know why. Just feels like being at a black tie party when you're wearing a dragon on the sea. See, you need to write fiction, David. You absolutely need to write fiction. Yeah, I have been involved in some very ceremonial magic rituals, and they are interesting, but it's a bit of a palaver for me. It doesn't work for me particularly. Nice to experience. But again, I think we're back to working with what works for you. It's nice to get dressed up occasionally and do something a bit different. But yeah, it has to resonate with you. It has to. And I think even for me, the more structured Wiccan rituals that I used to do, even those don't resonate so much with me these days. I do walk more of a traditional witchcraft pathway these days. Hallowing the compass, treading the mill, rather than the Wiccan structure of stuff. But I still enjoy doing those too on occasion. It's a bit of a balance maybe, but my personal preference, yeah, I'm in the dragon onesie. I would love a dragon onesie. That would be brilliant. Yep, I know what you mean. That's Lani crystals. Lani is Crystal Queen. Dress code. I love white tie, and I mean the clothes, not the magic. But yes, the whole James Bond outfit does look very dapper, doesn't it? Kerry, my go-to is candle magic with the usual layers of crystals, herbs, and oils. Yep, I'm with you on that, Kerry. That is me. Yep. Got to work a spell. Grab a candle. Grab the oils, herbs. Yep, absolutely. Little Miss Nemo, what's the little horsey in front of your besom? Oh, that's one of my staffs. It's a staff. Isn't he beautiful? It's got a little fancy tail. I tend to look at him. Let's move him that side, probably better. I tend to look at him as more of a seahorse. I don't know why. Like the white horses, the white crest of the waves. I think there's a bit of water to him. I was gifted that quite a number of years ago now. But he's beautiful. But yeah, that's one of my staffs. I have a couple. Oh, there's another one there. That one's oak. It's got my name and oak leaves carved on it. There we go. Gifted both of those. He's been all over the place, this one. He's been to Stonehenge and Knowlton and Stanton Drew and various other places. Oh, don't knock everything off. So yeah, he's my staff. Maria, why is it not coffee? Let's do the story. I was invited to be part of an NHS research project, and I went last week, and it was height, weight, waist measurement. They did let me take my great big hefting boots off to be weighed, and blood tests. What they tested for was and blood pressure. They tested for blood pressure, heart rate, and cholesterol while you were there in the little surgery test bit. And then they send your bloods off, and the bloods are used to have all sorts of things extracted to help with curing some of the nasty diseases and things. It's all a big research project. So I volunteered. But actually at this thing on Friday, they gave me some results straight away. So my cholesterol was ridiculously high. My blood pressure was ridiculously high. My heart rate was ridiculously high. So after I'd had a complete major panic, we looked at the diet first. So, and it is an urban myth. I love baking cakes. I don't actually eat all of them. It's the baking of them that I prefer. But yeah, it was a bit of a wake-up call. And I thank the gods that they sent me to the research thing, which also helps other people, but has helped me. So we've had to make some tweaks in the diet. I've been for more blood tests with the doctor, and I'm more blood pressure tests and cholesterol tests and all sorts of things to see if I need medication. But hopefully bringing it down with a bit of the diet. So no coffee with lots of sugar and milk and stuff. So I'm on herbal tea at the minute just to kind of bring things down. So there's your story. And I hate herbal tea. back to the action. Jane, although we make magic a part of our everyday lives, I do think the most magical times are when we actually stop and take time out from everyday routine to have a ritual bath, fire, or meditation, for instance. Yes, and I think that's so important. That's just important anyway, magical or otherwise. It is important to take time out for yourself. David, my partner does their thing when we get into the car. She does 3 clockwise circles with her fingers and says, protection spell, protection spell, protection spell. Simple, direct, to the point. Perfect. The car spell I generally do is a goddess mother, turn your face and find for me a parking place. Because parking where I live is rubbish. It's simple, isn't it? It's the simple things that work. Good morning, Anne. Angela, I've had a huge lesson in if it's right, the universe will provide, and be careful what you wish for. Though we didn't put a wish out there or do any kind of spells manifestation. We are discussing something we would like to achieve and just said more to each other, really. How can we achieve this? How can we make it happen? Then not 4 days later, we got an email that has completely turned our life upside down. Or scary at first glance, we realized it was just what we needed. Well, that's good. Yeah, it's putting it out there, isn't it? I think once you are tapped into that magic, just putting things out there it is the be careful what you wish for scenario, isn't it? Lee, this is definitely me too on the posh stuff. Now, many years ago, in another lifetime, I was a member of Petersfield Young Farmers. Everything we did involved ball gowns, evening dresses in the evening, and then during the day it was wellies and cleaning out the pigsties. So it was a bit of a flip, but my whole social life really revolved around ball gowns and evening dresses. Bit of a change to my life now. Lots of posh stuff. And loves drinking out of a nice china cup. Yes, drinking tea out of a china cup and saucer is so much nicer. It makes the tea taste nicer. Maria, no one is as ritualistic as my cat. Cats are totally tapped into magic. Totally. Little Miss Nemo. Love the protection spell. Have to remember that one. Red wine. Yeah. Fred Astaire wouldn't be the same without a tech. Oh, Fred Astaire. Now you're talking class. The most amazing dancer in the entire world, as far as I'm concerned. Holiday Inn. Oh, one of my most favorite films. That man dances effortlessly. Just give me him over any of the dancers today. Fred Astaire is proper dancing. Yeah, absolutely. Karen, if you use your best stuff, you will live your best life. I like that. I do like that. Angela, just notice, yes. Yep, great at you in and his elephants and the Discworld, and Michaela book cover that my daughter drew. Yeah, bit of a change around in here. And love drumming. Off to birth my own drum too. Oh, it's an amazing experience. If you get the chance to birth your own drum, it is amazing. There's something very, very special about that. Jane, last time we went to see my toxic aunt in her care home, I took a big ball of obsidian for protection. It wasn't enough. When we left, I felt like I was untangling myself from the clutches of a giant octopus. That's not good. Auntie is her own superpower. No crystal can overcome her. There are some people, aren't there, that just have that about them. Probably doesn't even realize she's doing it. Debbie, eye-catching items are acquired by everyone at some point. Yeah, absolutely. Stopped many years ago once I realised they weren't necessary. I still buy the odd handcrafted item if it sings to me, but I don't buy a lot of stuff these days. Nature provides everything you need to work magic with. Sephora, the amazing thing is finding a stone that cracks open. It's full of crystal. Best thing ever, like a dragon's egg. Yes, sometimes the pebbles and stones you find on the beach, and you walk along and a little glimpse, a little flash of crystal catches your eye, doesn't it? Jane, a teaspoon of intuition can prevent a basin full of hindsight. Absolutely. Emma, I have some flint and it's in the shape of an arrowhead. I get along so well with it. Also good to have crystals around to throw at people who bother you. Now, there you go, see? You said you didn't get on with crystals. Flint is just a crystal in another form. It's made up of the same particles that other crystals are made up with. Just a different type. Trudy, when I cook a soup or similar, I stir in the love and gratitude. The ingredients all have colour and magical properties. I have a candle lit nearby. Love drawing in protective symbols with my spoon. Can't get better than that for me. Magical food. You know me and magical food and cooking. There's so much magic you can bring in with your ingredients, but simply stirring in clockwise to bring in the positive. Charging your herbs or your spices or your new ingredients before you put them in. Drawing symbols on pastry, on dough, on all sorts of things. Yeah, there's so much magic can be worked in the kitchen. Absolutely. James, when it comes to stones and stuff, I don't connect to tumbled stones in the shop. I collect mine from nature that call out to me. Perfect. Again, it has to work for each individual, and we are all different. Also, when I do my homework, haven't done any for months. There is a measure of magical practice in that because you're focusing on a particular task. In this case, not ritual, but homework. Yeah, they're all prompts, aren't they? I think it's all prompts to work that magic. David's carrying wet wipes for spills. Yeah, very wise. Eve has got my dragon onesie so warm. I'm a little bit jealous. Sephora, every time the jam sets, magic. Yes, not that I've ever made jam. I leave that to Heather. She makes jam. I just receive jars of it, very thankfully. Little horsey is so, yes, he is beautiful. I don't work a lot with staffs. When I used to go out and do a lot of outside rituals, I always used to take a staff with me. And these two in particular were gifted when I was part of Druid Grove. So they were quite magical and they always came to rituals with me. Invariably, they did end up just leaning on a stone or a tree nearby because you can't run a ritual and hold a staff at the same time. But they are both very magical. I do have a very simple stang as well, the Y-shaped stang. He's downstairs at the moment because I've been head riding with him. Very simple. No decoration, nothing fancy, but just as magical. Like a staff. I did cast a circle with a sword once. Very badly. Swords are heavy. Swords are very heavy. Lifting it up to cast a circle. How you ever managed to fight with one, I have no idea. But it's just each time I take a sip, because it's not nice. Yeah, no. It's good for me, but it's not nice. Kitty cat. Hibiscus tea, good for blood pressure, and also beetroot juice. I've been to my little local international supermarket and stocked up on loads of things. I got turmeric tea. I got green tea. I think that's what this one is. Actually, it's green tea. Both very good for cholesterol, blood pressure, and I bought lots of beetroot, and I love beetroot. And yes, Pete did make my tea. He makes my tea throughout the day. Jackie, more of a Gene Kelly girl. Yeah, he's good too. It's proper dancing, isn't it? It's very talented, but I call proper dancing, but that's a whole other subject. David, high blood pressure is inherited in my family, so I've had it since I was about 33. Tamed it with diet and attitude and fitness, but that was mostly due being too cheap to own a car. No, I must admit it was a bit of a shock to me. There's a lot of menopausal influences in it as well. We're in the beginnings journey now, but we'll get there. Stay healthy, David. Angela has a unicorn onesie. Now I'm jealous of that too. Debbie, stirring anti-clockwise when cooking or making drinks to release. Yeah, stir anti-clockwise to let go, to release. Stir clockwise to bring positivity. Beetroot, yes, thank you. I do love beetroot. Alani says strawberry and raspberry tea is lovely and smells yummy. What I have found with the herbal teas, and I think it's one of the reasons why I don't like a lot of them, a lot of the big company ones don't actually have just the natural ingredients in them. So you'd buy a packet of raspberry tea, but it wouldn't just be raspberry leaf. It would be raspberry leaf and orange peel and this and that and the scrapings off the workshop floor and, you know, smell lovely, don't taste nice. So I have very certain now. I double check whenever I'm buying herbal teas. I check the ingredients to make sure they are just the pure ingredients. But it's good for me. It tastes like grass, but yeah. Yeah, it's menopausal thing. Decaf herbal, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Eve, I am jealous of, yeah, unicorn and dragon onesies. Anne hates herbal tea. Yeah, it's not nice. Yeah, beetroot's good though. I'm not sure I'd want beetroot tea though. That's, yeah. Anyway. Sylvia, there's one magical practice I do every morning, that is with my first coffee. Do some spices in it, say a little spell for my day to keep troubles at bay. Been doing that for about 3 years now, and I'm so grown in now. It really troubles me when I'm not able to get my own coffee when I'm away. It is that morning routine, isn't it? It's that few minutes at the start of the day, just with you and your cup of coffee, your cup of tea, and working a little bit of magic. Perfect. Thank you, Emma. Yeah, we'll get there. Maria, find herbal teas very drying. Yeah, I know what you mean. I do know what you mean. Yeah, afterwards you think, I'm drinking it. Trudy, just a question: if you walk into a room with many crystals in it and geodes, do you feel heady? Yep, as I can't seem to stay in these shops for very long. I couldn't work in a crystal shop. Would be so overwhelmed. You'd have to have your shields up the entire day, wouldn't you? You'd have to have like a cloak of metal or something on. Yes, I do. I have to. If I remember, I do shield before I go in there. But yes, absolutely. They carry power with them, and all of them in one place. Yeah, absolutely. Kitty cat. Always buy my teas from the international shops, just a bag of pure herbs and flowers. My international supermarket does. They do big jars of just rosebuds or big jars of chamomile flowers. And yeah, fantastic. I love it. We do a weekly shop in our local independent international supermarket. Get some mad things in there. Herbal tea ingredients are often nature identical, which is not the same. Yeah, it's definitely worth checking the ingredients on the back of the boxes. Absolutely. Lani, I have made them from scratch. I let the fruit dry out for 24 to 48 hours, then just add water in a teapot and done. I've done the same with lemon balm. I grow lemon balm, so I have lemon balm tea in the summer. I did buy a big bunch of fresh mint from the international supermarket a couple of days ago. So I've been having fresh mint tea as well. But you know me, Lani, I'm not about to do all the faffing about. Eve, just bought spiced ginger tea, never thought of looking at the ingredient. Tastes nice though. It's all good. It's all good. Maria, as long as you drink plenty of water, wouldn't worry. Eat what makes you happy in moderation, of course. Oh, I have had to cut out a lot of stuff because like high levels, not quite, oh my God, let's get you to the hospital. But yeah, have had to be very careful. Once I've got it under control, we'll be back in action. Sephora, onesies are all good and well until menopause and needing to pee. Yeah, actually, yeah, I wouldn't wear it to bed. That would not work. No, that wouldn't work. Angela, love herbal. Beetroot's lovely. Not at all how you would expect it to taste. Okay, I like roasted beetroot, and my mum used to make baked beetroot, and then she'd put a cheese sauce on it. Oh, that was lovely. Raw organic cacao. Yes, I use cacao. I have a bag of that. Why not seek out real herbal tea from your local medical herbalist? They can blend for your particular needs. Yes, absolutely. Definitely well worth looking into. I'm lucky that my little international supermarket is run by a local family, little independent. They've got such a huge range of herbal teas and all of the natural ingredients as well. But yes, definitely worth seeking out herbal practitioners. Applaud you for yeah, I'm tolerating it just, James. It's not nice. Karen, my friend gifted me a rhubarb spritzer tea. Oh, that I love rhubarb. Do love rhubarb. Nita, I make my own herbal tisanes. Oh, do you know, that makes me think of Poirot. Whenever you watch a Poirot episode with the wonderful David Suchet, he always orders a tisane. I love it. Rosemary, sage, mint, and nettles. Add honey and lemon. Very yummy and smells heavenly. Tastes natural, not harsh. Yeah, I think adding honey for me is good, and honey's good for lowering your blood pressure and your cholesterol as well. Raw natural honey's good, and lemon's good too. So yeah, adding honey makes a big difference, I think. Try combining beetroot and apple. Good combination. Yes, I bought some pomegranates as well. We have veered off into tea. Maybe we should do a chat about herbal teas. That would be good. Talking of tea, I've also got into the habit of having loose leaves and have read in the morning. Not read tea leaves that much, so it's a fun thing to get into practice. Reading tea leaves, brilliant. You can also do the same with your coffee grounds if you make proper coffee. You can read the coffee grounds as well. Yeah, fascinating. Karen, homemade herbal teas are way better tasting than ready-made. Yeah, it's the big brand ones. Not going to mention the worst one, begins with a T. They put a load of rubbish stuff in it. Jody, I've had shields up for 25 years permanently because my empathic self is off the charts. Haven't had a problem since I set it up. At home I don't have my shields up. When I go out, I do. Lani says, apple tea, great one to make from scratch. Yeah. You know, my apple tea would just be slicing an apple and putting it in a cup of hot water, don't you? We are off on a tangent, Emma. Oh, doorbell. The doorbell upstairs has got switched to some random tune, which is very bizarre. Sylvia also had high blood pressure. It went down from 165 to 145. It was higher than that. Everywhere you read, the 140 is borderline, but my GP does not want to up the dose, so don't be alarmed if you can't get it to 120. It's not. It's higher than all of those figures, Sylvia. Anyway, cutting down the caffeine. I only drink one coffee a day, but I was having those sachets, and they've got all the sugar and extra bits in it, which is not good. I love Lavazza coffee. Yes, definitely. Lots of yes, thank you for all of these. Oh, beetroot chutney, yeah, hibiscus tea, yeah. I've done a lot. You know me. I've done a lot of research. First thing I did when I got back Friday after phoning the doctor was research. So I've got my whole list of stuff now. So getting there. But I am seeing the doctor as well. We're doing lots of tests. So yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. 140 is normal. Mine's nowhere near that, Maria. It's not good. Angela, made my first couple of cacaos with milk thinking hot chocolate. Yeah, couldn't understand what the hype was. Then was advised to make it my favorite herbal tea. And oh my god, okay. I've had cacao and cacao ceremonies as well, which is mixed with honey and a few spices and things. I haven't tried it in herbal tea. I'm going to have to do that. Little Miss Nemo, is it all the ultra processed ingredients? Yes, that's why I'm cut that out. My little packets of, Whiskum lattes, too many ultra processed things. Yeah. Jalala, sit outside and whittle sticks. Oh, that sounds fabulous. Right, I'm off because the electrician's here. Thank you everyone for your suggestions. Thank you for your input as always. It is a community, and I am incredibly honoured to be a part of this with you guys. So take care, everyone. If anyone wants me to talk about anything particular, just ping me. You know where to find me. Have a fantastic week, everyone, and take care.